The vast observation deck sat quiet and cold as Admiral Han Tawan gazed out at the shimmering spires of the Galactic Council headquarters. The crystal towers of Centauri Prime stretched endlessly into the purple-tinged sky, their surfaces reflecting the light of 3 setting suns. His lined face showed no emotion, though inside he felt the familiar burn of frustration as he listened to the council meeting through his neural link. The council chamber itself was a marvel of alien architecture, with sweeping arches and floating platforms where representatives from 100 species gathered. At the center podium stood Ambassador Park Ji-min, her diplomatic robes a stark contrast to the exotic garments around her. Despite her outward calm, Ta-Wan could see the slight tension in her shoulders as she endured yet another round of thinly veiled insults. The Ardaxian representative loomed over her, his crystalline body refracting light in dazzling patterns. Like all his kind, he moved with fluid grace that seemed to mock the clumsiness of human biology. "We have reviewed Earth's petition for mining rights in the Proxima system," he announced, his resonant voice filled with condescension. "The Council finds your proposal lacking in both merit and feasibility." Ji-min's response was measured, careful. "The Earth Federation has demonstrated consistent growth in our mining operations. Our safety records exceed Council standards by significant margins." "Safety records for primitive operations," another Council member interjected, triggering ripples of amusement through the chamber. "The mining rights to Proxima require sophisticated matter manipulation technology, not the crude fusion drills your species relies upon." Taiwan's hands tightened slightly on the railing as he watched through the observation windows. Below him, Earth's diplomatic vessel sat among the sleek ships of other species. To their eyes, it was a simple transport, barely worth notice. They never suspected that its basic hull contained quantum-locked chambers filled with technology that would make their most advanced systems look like children's toys. Captain Kim Min-ho approached silently, standing beside his admiral. "Another productive day of being underestimated," he murmured, his voice carrying a hint of dark humor. "Indeed." Ta-Wan's eyes tracked a passing council security vessel. Their scans washed harmlessly over the diplomatic ship's hull, the true nature of its systems hidden behind layers of technological camouflage. "How are our guests enjoying their tour of our primitive vessel?" "The Rigelian trade delegation is suitably unimpressed," Min-ho replied. "They're currently complaining about our outdated life support systems. If they only knew those same systems could sustain our crew for a decade without resupply." In the council chamber, the Ardaxian was building to his favorite theme. "Perhaps in another century, when you've evolved beyond your simian origins, we might reconsider. For now, the Council recommends Earth focus on developing basic spaceflight capabilities. We wouldn't want you to hurt yourselves playing with technology beyond your comprehension." Ji-min bowed slightly, the perfect picture of humble acceptance. Only those who knew her well would recognize the steel in her voice. "The Earth Federation thanks the Council for its wisdom. We will continue our efforts to meet your expectations." Taiwan allowed himself a small smile as he watched the council members congratulate themselves on their benevolent guidance of a primitive species. His neural link pinged softly, displaying a message from Earth Command. Another successful test of the quantum blade drives, technology that could slice through space-time itself. In orbital shipyards hidden throughout the solar system, humanity's true fleet grew stronger by the day. "Tell engineering to maintain our primitive noise output," he instructed Min-ho. "We wouldn't want to disappoint our guests by appearing too advanced." As the council session ended, Taiwan observed the representatives filing out, each species moving according to their unique biology. The Ardaxians' crystalline forms sparkled, the serpentine draconians slithered smoothly, and the energy-based Lurians floated ethereally. None of them spared more than a dismissive glance for the humans in their midst. "Admiral," Min-ho said quietly, "sometimes I wonder what they would do if they knew. If they could see just one of our actual warships, or glimpse inside our quantum research facilities." Taiwan turned from the window, his weathered face showing the wisdom earned through decades of service. "They'll know soon enough, Captain. Humanity's patience has served us well, but even the longest masquerade must eventually end. When that day comes, they'll understand that while they were busy mocking us, we were building something far beyond their imagination." The Admiral took one last look at the Council towers before heading to prepare for departure. Let them think Earth was a backwater, barely worth their notice. Let them believe humanity was still taking its first stumbling steps into the cosmos. The truth would remain hidden behind careful deception and advanced technology, until the day it could no longer be contained. For now, Earth's diplomatic vessel would make its seemingly slow way home, its hull humming with the sound of primitive engines, while its true power slept quietly beneath layers of technological camouflage. The greatest deception in galactic history continued, one patronizing council meeting at a time. The emergency alert pierced through the quiet hum of Earth's diplomatic vessel as it crossed the Orient sector. Red lights pulsed through the command deck as Captain Kim Min-ho's hands flew across the holographic controls, bringing up the encrypted transmission. The message carried the highest priority signature he had seen in his 15 years of service. Admiral Han Ta-1 burst onto the bridge, his usually composed face tight with concern. "Report," he commanded, taking his position at the central station. The holographic display sprang to life, showing the Lyran home system wreathed in fire. "Multiple Ardaxian warships have entered Lyran space," Min-ho reported, his voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "They'd bypassed the defense grid using quantum tunneling. Orbital bombardment began 30 minutes ago." The display showed Lyran cities burning under the relentless assault. The Ardaxian ships, their crystalline forms catching the light of Lyra's twin suns, moved with mechanical precision as they laid waste to centuries of peaceful civilization. Emergency beacons flashed desperately across the system. Their calls for help met with silence from the Galactic Council. "The Lyrans are transmitting on our private channel," Min-ho continued, bringing up another screen. "They're calling in the dead." Taiwan's jaw tightened. Every human in service knew what that meant. Centuries ago, when Earth was truly primitive, the Lyrans had made secret contact. While other species mocked humanity's development, the Lyrans had seen potential. They had shared their cloaking technology, asking only that humanity remember their friendship when the time came. That time had arrived. Deep beneath Mount Pektu, in a command center unknown to the galaxy at large, General Lee Soo-jin stood before Earth's assembled leadership. The underground facility hummed with power as quantum computers processed real-time data from humanity's hidden sensor network. "The Ardaxians believe they can act with impunity," Soo-jin stated, her uniform pristine as she manipulated the tactical display. "They know the Council will not intervene in what they're calling an internal security matter." The room's occupants watched as she brought up detailed scans of the Ardaxian fleet. 17 dreadnoughts, 40 cruisers, and over 100 support vessels. They're using their latest weapons technology, thinking the Lyrans have no defense against it. President Park stepped forward, his aged face grave. "The Lyrans kept our secrets all these years. They helped us when others would have kept us backward and weak. What are our options?" Soo-jin's fingers danced across the display, showing the positions of Earth's hidden forces. "We have battle groups stationed in quantum pocket space throughout the sector. The 7th Fleet can reach Lyra in under 10 minutes using the slip drives. The 2nd and 4th can follow within the hour. The consequences of revealing ourselves will be enormous," Admiral Cho warned from his position at the strategy table. "Once we show our true capabilities, there's no going back. The political fallout alone." "With respect, Admiral," Soo-jin interrupted, her voice firm. "While we debate, Lyran children are dying. Their cities burn while their calls for help go unanswered. We swore an oath to protect our allies, not our political convenience." The display shifted, showing real-time footage of Lyran civilians fleeing as Ardaxian ground forces began their landing. The crystalline warriors moved with cold efficiency, their energy weapons cutting through local defense forces with ease. "We've maintained this deception for centuries," Sujin continued, her hands pressed against the holographic display. "We've endured their mockery, their condescension, their belief in our inferiority. But the Ardaxians have crossed a line. They believe they can commit genocide while the galaxy watches in silence." President Park studied the tactical display for a long moment. The room held its breath, waiting for his decision. When he spoke, his voice carried the weight of history. "Send the order," he commanded. "All forces are authorized to engage. Save the Lyrans. Show the Ardaxians exactly what these monkeys can do." Sujin's hands flew across the controls, sending quantum-encrypted orders to Earth's hidden fleets. Throughout the galaxy, in secret bases and concealed shipyards, humanity's true military might stirred to life. In the Lyran system, Ardaxian commanders watched with satisfaction as another city fell to their bombardment. Their sensors showed nothing unusual, no sign of the intervention they had expected. They had no way of knowing that in the space between moments, in dimensions their science couldn't detect, humanity's vengeance was already on its way. The order went out. "Operation Daybreak is now active. All ships, prepare to reveal. Show them what humanity has become." The galaxy was about to learn that they had mistaken patience for weakness and preparation for primitiveness. The deception of centuries was about to end, and the Ardaxians would be the first to learn exactly how far humanity had come while they weren't watching. In the darkness between stars, humanity's hidden fleet stirred to life. Commander Yoon Jae-hyuk stood on the bridge of the En Sejong, watching as status reports flowed in from ships emerging from their quantum-locked hiding places. 1,000 bases, carefully hidden in systems marked as empty on council maps, powered up their advanced systems. "All strike groups report ready," First Officer Choi announced, her fingers dancing across the holographic controls. "Quantum drives charge, weapon systems online." Jae-hyuk nodded, his expression calm despite the weight of the moment. The Sejong's bridge hummed with controlled energy as the crew prepared for humanity's first true combat deployment. Through the main view screen, he could see the Ardaxian dreadnought hanging in space above Lyra Prime, its crystalline form beautiful, even as it rained destruction on the planet below. "Begin Phase 1, he ordered. "Drop camouflage on my mark." The Sejong's true form had never been seen by alien eyes. Like all ships in Earth's hidden fleet, it had been designed to remain invisible not just to sensors, but to the very understanding of what ships could be. Its quantum-locked hull could bend space itself, while its weapon systems operated on principles the Council races had yet to discover. "Strike groups in position," Choi reported, receiving confirmation from all sectors. "Earth Command gives final authorization." Jae-hyuk took a deep breath. "Send to all ships. Operation Daybreak commences. Show them what humanity has become." The Sejong flickered into existence, less than a kilometer from the Ardaxian flagship. One moment, empty space. The next, a warship that defied conventional physics. Its dark hull seemed to drink in light, while patterns of energy coursed across its surface in impossible geometries. On the Ardaxian bridge, alarms screamed as sensors detected the impossible. Their crystalline forms vibrated with shock as more ships appeared. Dozens, then hundreds, then thousands. The elegant formations they had used to terrorize the Lyrans suddenly found themselves surrounded by vessels that seemed to mock the very laws of space-time. "Ardaxian Command." Jae-hyuk's voice cut across all frequencies, translated perfectly into their crystalline language. "This is Commander Yoon Jae-hyuk of the Earth Naval Forces. Your bombardment of Lyra Prime ends now." The Ardaxian response came in the form of energy weapons, their most advanced technology unleashing a barrage that would have atomized any known ship. The beams struck the Sejong's quantum shields and simply ceased to exist, absorbed into dimensions the attackers couldn't comprehend. "All ships, defensive pattern Omega," Jae-hyuk commanded. "Disable their weapons but preserve their ships. Let's show them the difference between power and brutality. The human fleet moved with perfect coordination, their true capabilities unveiled at last. Ships phase shifted through Ardaxian attacks, while others manipulated gravity itself to redirect enemy fire. The complex formations that had terrorized the Lyrans found themselves split apart by vessels that could navigate the spaces between spaces. Their shields are based on crystalline resonance, Choi reported, transmitting frequencies to all ships. Jae-hyuk allowed himself a small smile. Execute pattern Beta 7. Let's give them a lesson in human ingenuity. The Sejong's quantum cannons fired, releasing precisely calibrated energy pulses. Where they struck Ardaxian shields, the crystalline defensive matrices simply went dark, their fundamental structures temporarily reorganized at the quantum level. Ship after ship found itself powerless, their mighty weapons reduced to simple sculptures. Through it all, Jae-hyuk maintained his calm demeanor, directing the fleet with the precision of a conductor leading an orchestra. The Ardaxians had expected to face primitive resistance. Instead, they found themselves ensnared by technology so advanced it appeared magical. All primary targets neutralized, Choi announced. Ardaxian fleet is disabled. No casualties on either side. Send to Earth Command. Phase 1 complete. The revelation has begun. Across the galaxy, sensors registered the impossible battle. Council species watched in stunned silence as their understanding of humanity crumbled. The species they had mocked as primitive had just disabled the Ardaxian Empire's most powerful battle fleet without destroying a single ship. The Sejong hung in space above Lyra Prime, its presence a declaration that could never be taken back. Humanity had hidden its true nature for centuries, preparing for this moment. Now, as the disabled Ardaxian ships drifted powerless in space, the galaxy would have to confront a new reality. The primitive monkeys they had dismissed had become something far beyond their understanding. Admiral Kang Hyunwoo stood aboard the command deck of the ES Daejeon, watching as the last of Earth's hidden fleets took position around the Ardaxian forces. The massive display showed hundreds of disabled enemy ships floating helplessly in space, their crystalline forms reflecting the light of nearby stars. "Open a channel to all Ardaxian frequencies," he ordered, his voice carrying the authority of decades of command. The communications officer nodded, and Hyunwoo straightened his uniform. "This is Admiral Kang Hyunwoo of the Earth Naval Forces," he announced, his words translated perfectly into the crystalline harmonics of Ardaxian speech. "Your forces will stand down immediately and withdraw from Lyran space." The response came swiftly. The remaining Ardaxian vessels launched a barrage of plasma torpedoes, their most powerful weapons burning bright against the backdrop of space. Hyunwoo watched calmly as the attack struck the Daejeon's quantum shields and simply vanished, converted to harmless energy by technology centuries beyond their understanding. "They never do learn," he murmured, then raised his voice. "Execute pattern Echo. Disable their remaining ships, but keep civilian casualties at 0. The human fleet moved with precision that would have shocked the Galactic Council. Ships phased through space using quantum drives, appearing and disappearing faster than Ardaxian sensors could track. The electromagnetic pulse weapons, carefully calibrated to affect only Ardaxian technology, fired in perfect sequence. On the main display, Hyunwoo watched as ship after ship went dark, their sophisticated systems completely shut down by technology they had dismissed as impossible for primitive humans to develop. The mighty Ardaxian assault fleet, terror of the neutral systems, hung powerless in space. "Sir," his tactical officer reported, "we're detecting power surges in their command ships. They appear to be attempting to overload their cores." Hyunwoo shook his head. "Deploy quantum anchors. Show them that even their self-destruct systems are under our control." The Daejeon's quantum field expanded, wrapping the Ardaxian vessels in a web of forces their science couldn't comprehend. Their attempt at honorable destruction fizzled out, leaving them with nothing but the silence of defeat. "Admiral," the communications officer called out, "we're receiving a transmission from the Ardaxian flagship. Their Supreme Commander requests to speak with you. Put them through, Hyunwoo ordered, straightening his posture. The holographic display shifted, showing the crystalline form of Supreme Commander Vix, his usually brilliant surface now dulled with shock and rage. How is this possible? Vix demanded, his translated voice crackling with fury. Your species barely understands basic spaceflight. Your technology is centuries behind ours. Hyunwoo allowed himself a small smile. Perhaps, Supreme Commander, you should have spent less time mocking our capabilities and more time observing our potential. Humanity has never been what we appeared to be. The Council will hear of this treachery, Vix threatened. The Council, Hyunwoo responded calmly, will hear of how you attacked a peaceful species without provocation, and how humanity stepped in to prevent genocide. They will learn that while you boasted of your power, we prepared. While you mocked our primitive nature, we surpassed you. He gestured to his tactical officer, who brought up displays showing Earth's full fleet deployment. Thousands of ships, each more advanced than anything in the Council's registry, now surrounded the Ardaxian forces. Your choice is simple, Hyunwoo continued. Withdraw your forces from Lyran space immediately. We will restore power to your ships one by one, and you will leave under our escort. Refuse, and we will tow your entire fleet back to Ardaxian space ourselves, a demonstration to the galaxy of exactly how far humanity has come. The crystalline commander's surface rippled with barely contained rage, but even he could recognize the completeness of his defeat. We will withdraw, he ground out. A wise decision, Hyunwoo replied. Remember this day, Supreme Commander. Remember that when you chose to attack the innocent, humanity revealed itself. Remember that your most powerful weapons meant nothing against technology you didn't believe possible. As the transmission ended, Hyunwoo turned to his crew. Their faces showed pride, not in victory, but in finally being able to stand openly in defense of justice. Centuries of hiding, of enduring mockery and dismissal, had led to this moment. Begin power restoration sequence, he ordered. Let's show them that humanity's strength lies not just in our technology, but in our mercy. The Daejeon's crew worked with quiet efficiency as the Ardaxian ships slowly regained power, each one immediately turning to leave under the watchful eyes of Earth's fleet. The galaxy was changing, and humanity's role in it would never be the same. The Grand Council chamber, usually a model of ordered debate, had descended into complete disorder. Representatives from 100 species shouted, argued, and demanded explanations as the holographic displays showed Earth's forces dismantling the Ardaxian fleet with impossible ease. Ambassador Park Ji-min stood at the central podium, her diplomatic robes now carrying a different meaning than they had just days before. Where once they had marked her as a representative of a primitive species, they now symbolized humanity's hidden power. The chaos around her meant nothing. She had waited years for this moment. Order. We must have order. The council speaker's voice boomed through the chamber, barely containing the uproar. Gradually, the pandemonium settled into a tense silence as all eyes turned to the human ambassador. For centuries, Ji-min began, her voice carrying clearly through the vast space. You called us monkeys. You dismissed our achievements as primitive steps. You treated our petitions with contempt, believing us barely worthy of notice. The Ardaxian representative, his crystalline form dulled with shame, could not meet her gaze. The footage playing behind her showed his species' mighty warships hanging powerless in space, disabled by technology they had thought impossible. While you mocked, we built, Ji-min continued, her words measured and clear. While you dismissed our capabilities, we advanced beyond your understanding. While you played your political games, we prepared for the day when the galaxy would need guardians who remembered humility. A draconian counselor rose from his seat, his serpentine form swaying with agitation. You deceived the council. You hid your true technological level, a direct violation of membership protocols. Ji-min's smile carried centuries of patience. We hid nothing. We simply allowed you to believe what you wished to believe. Not once did we lie about our capabilities. You merely assumed, and we did not correct your assumptions. The holographic displays shifted, showing the quantum technology that had so easily neutralized the Ardaxian fleet. The council chamber filled with murmurs as species after species recognized how far humanity had advanced while they weren't watching. Your people wielded power without responsibility, Jamin declared, gesturing to the Ardaxian representative. You watched genocide begin and did nothing. We acted because someone had to remember that strength carries obligation. The council speaker, a being of pure energy, floated forward. The balance of power in the galaxy has shifted. Earth cannot be allowed to maintain such military superiority. The council must vote on sanctions. No, Jamin interrupted, her voice carrying new authority. Those days are done. Earth will no longer accept the judgment of those who have proven themselves unworthy to judge. We will not disarm. We will not step back. We will not pretend to be less than we are. The chamber erupted again, but Jimin raised her hand for silence. Behind her, new displays showed Earth's full military might. Bases hidden in dimensional pockets, shipyards concealed in artificial nebulae. Technology that made the Council's most advanced achievements look primitive. We offer you a choice, she announced. Continue as you have, playing politics while the strong prey on the weak, and humanity will act without your approval. Or accept that the galaxy needs change and work with us to build something better. The Lyran representative, still bearing the marks of recent wounds, stood in support. The humans protected us when this council would not. They showed power without cruelty, strength without arrogance. Perhaps it is time we listen to those we once mocked. One by one, other representatives began to stand. Species that had suffered under the old order recognized the chance for change. Those who had maintained their neutrality saw the wisdom in alliance with this newly revealed power. The age of dismissal is over, Jedmin declared. Earth extends its hand in friendship, but we will never again hide our strength. The galaxy needed guardians who remembered humility, and humanity answered that need. As the council chamber buzzed with the implications of this new reality, Jimin allowed herself a moment of quiet satisfaction. Centuries of patience had led to this moment. The galaxy would never be the same, and perhaps now it could become something better. The time of pretense was over. The era of the primitive humans had ended, and in its place, a new order would rise, one where strength served justice and power remembered responsibility. The newly rebuilt council chambers gleamed under the light of 3 suns, its architecture now blending the best of all species designs. Head counselor Cho Myre stood at the circular window, watching ships from 100 worlds move through the carefully organized space lanes. Human vessels no longer hid their true nature, their advanced drives leaving trails of quantum energy that lit up the sky. The defense grid integration is ahead of schedule, Admiral Han reported, joining her at the window. He had aged since the revelation, but his eyes remained sharp as ever. 30 systems are now protected by our quantum shield network. Myre nodded, turning away from the view to study the holographic displays floating around her desk. The Draconians have finally agreed to join the Mutual Defense Pact. That makes 78 species now aligned under the new protocols. The chamber doors opened smoothly as a group of Lyran delegates entered. Their tall, graceful forms moved with natural elegance as they approached. Where once they had hidden their connection to humanity, they now wore badges showing the combined symbols of both species. Head counselor, the lead Lyran, greeted warmly. The joint research facilities are ready. Our scientists can barely contain their excitement at working openly with human colleagues at last. Myre smiled, remembering centuries of secret cooperation. No more hidden laboratories or encrypted messages. Science should serve all species openly. The displays shifted to show the new defense network spreading through known space. Quantum sensors protected trade routes while advanced early warning systems ensured no species could ever again launch a surprise attack like the Ardaxians had attempted. The Ardaxian Empire has submitted their final compliance report. An aide announced, bringing over a data crystal. Their military has been restructured according to the new limitations. Their new leadership seems eager to prove they can be trusted. Admiral Han's expression remained neutral, but his voice carried satisfaction. Amazing how reasonable people become when they realize their strength was an illusion. A chime announced another arrival. Representatives from 3 newly discovered species entered, their eyes wide at the technology surrounding them. Where once they would have faced years of patronizing prejudice, now they would be welcomed as equals under humanity's new protocols. Show them to the orientation chamber, Mayray instructed her staff. Ensure they understand that in this council, no species is considered primitive. We judge by actions, not assumptions. The day continued with the steady work of building a better galaxy. Trade agreements that once favored the powerful were rewritten. Scientific knowledge was shared freely rather than hoarded. The strong were no longer allowed to bully the weak while others watched in silence. Sometimes I miss the old days, Admiral Han mused during a quiet moment. The simplicity of hiding, of being underestimated. Mireille understood. We traded simple days for better ones. Look there. She pointed to where a human ship was helping a draconian vessel repair its engines. Once they would have sneered at our help. Now they know that strength means nothing without compassion. The Admiral nodded, watching as more ships moved through the lanes their technology had made safe. Humanity had revealed itself, had shown its true power, but had chosen to use that power to protect rather than dominate. As the day drew to a close, Mireille reviewed reports from across known space. Species that had once been enemies now worked together in research stations. Worlds that had feared invasion rested safely under quantum shields. Trade flowed freely through protected routes. Send word to Earth, she instructed her communications officer. The final phase of integration is complete. The new protocols are fully implemented. The message would travel instantly through the quantum network humanity had built. The galaxy had changed, and while challenges remained, the old order of mockery and dismissal was gone forever. Outside her window, ships continued their eternal dance through the stars. But now they moved in harmony, protected by the species that had remembered humility even as it advanced beyond its rivals' understanding. The new order had taken root, and at its heart stood the humans, no longer pretending to be less than they were, but working to ensure their strength served all species equally. The vast exploration vessel Ian's horizon cut silently through uncharted space, its quantum drives leaving trails of blue light in the void. Captain Song Han stood on the bridge, watching as her mixed crew of humans and Lyrans worked in perfect harmony. 5 years had passed since the day humanity revealed its true nature to the galaxy, and each day brought new discoveries. Unknown signal detected ahead, her Lyran science officer reported, his elegant fingers dancing across the holographic controls. Energy signature matches no known pattern in our database. Hayan smiled. Once, such a discovery would have meant retreat and careful observation from a safe distance. Now, with humanity's advanced technology protecting them, exploration had become truly bold. Take us closer, she ordered. Activate the quantum shields, but keep our approach peaceful. Let's show whatever's out there that the galaxy has changed. The bridge crew moved with practiced efficiency. Humans and Lyrans had spent centuries working together in secret. Now they did so openly, their complementary skills making them the finest exploration team in known space. Message from Council Hub, her communications officer announced. 3 more species have petitioned to join the Joint Exploration Initiative. They specifically requested to serve under human commanders. Hayan nodded, remembering how different things had been. The term space monkeys, once spat as an insult, now served as a proud reminder. Young officers wore small monkey patches on their uniforms, celebrating the patience that had allowed humanity to advance in secret. The horizon's sensors probed deeper into the unknown region. Areas that had once been marked as too dangerous for primitive species now opened up under their careful exploration. Humanity's advanced technology made safe passage possible, while their hard-earned wisdom kept them from repeating the mistakes of older species. Captain, her first officer called out, the Council Archives sent an update. The new historical section about the Lyran incident has been completed. The main screen showed the archive's entrance, where a new inscription had been carved. Judge not by appearances, for the wisdom of the cosmos often hides in unexpected places. Below it, someone had added a small figure of a smiling monkey. Fitting, Hayan mused, though I prefer to look forward rather than back. Her crew continued their work as the horizon pushed further into unexplored space. The ship's quantum sensors mapped regions no other species had dared to chart. Their advanced shields made peaceful contact possible with species that might once have been seen as threats. Energy anomaly resolving, the science officer reported. It appears to be a new form of spacefaring life. The creature that appeared on their screens defied easy description. A being of pure energy, it approached their ship with what seemed like curiosity. Open a channel, Hayan ordered. All frequencies, all languages. Let's show our new friend that the galaxy welcomes peaceful contact. The entity responded to their greeting, its energy patterns shifting in what their advanced sensors translated as interest. Where once such a meeting might have ended in fear or conflict, now it became an opportunity for understanding. Hours later, as the Horizon's crew recorded their historic first contact, Hayan wrote in her personal log, "Another barrier broken, another mystery unveiled. We advance not to conquer but to comprehend. The galaxy once mocked us as primitive. Now it turns to us to lead the way forward." The ship's quantum drives hummed quietly as they prepared to move on. Ahead lay more unknowns, more chances to prove that humanity's greatest strength had never been its hidden technology, but its retained capacity for wonder. In the council chambers, representatives from hundreds of species now worked together under new protocols. In research stations throughout known space, shared knowledge led to unprecedented advances, and in the vast unknown, ships like the Horizon carried the promise of a better future. The old order of mockery and dismissal had given way to one of cooperation and respect. Humanity had revealed not just its power, but its wisdom. And as Captain Song Hayan led her crew into another unexplored region, she knew that the greatest discoveries still lay ahead. The smiling monkey in the council archives watched as the galaxy transformed, a simple reminder that appearances deceive, patience prevails, and true wisdom often comes from those most underestimated.